Hi folks, I thought I'd dump another steaming pile of Vinyl Tag 2024 on your asses. I'm Headley, in case you don't know, over here in the UK. So yeah, Rob Walker has once again laid out his fruit and veg for us to pick and choose amongst. So Rob, cheers, thanks, well done, getting your arse in gear and doing it again. Okay, so let's get on with it. So favourite record you purchased in 2023? Technically speaking, didn't purchase it. Can we just say it's a record I got this year? And that's Nick Jones' Ballads and Songs. This is from 1970. It's his first album on Trailer Records. You got the nice trailer.
From Norfolk.info. Nick Jones sang Rain at the Fox in 1970.
Alexa, stop. I do apologise. I didn't say anything. Did you hear me say anything? I didn't say anything. Anyway, so Nick Jones. Yeah, I'm going to move on. Yeah. Classic record, his first record, folk, very good folk, really nice guitar playing. He's not necessarily by this stage in that sort of Burt Jansch style of, or you know, that sort of John Renbourn kind of thing, but he has a great style that he's developing, and by the time he makes Penguin Eggs in 1980 or 81, he's got his own style, which is just brilliant. But I'm so happy to have his first album from 1970. Okay, let's see if we can get on without She Who Must Be Not Named. She Who Must Not Be Named. Getting her ear in again. The last record you bought in 2023. Well, I went to a charity shop a couple of days before Christmas, and I picked up a Jellyfish EP, the Scary Go Round EP, for a couple of quid in a charity shop. I thought I'll take that home with me. Did get another country rock record, but I'm saving that for a country rock video that I probably won't be making because I can't get my arse in gear. Okay, band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. Some people might have a problem with this. I know we've seen quite a few of the same ones, the Guns N' Roses ones, the Springsteen, Tom Waits. But if you're into country music like I am, during the 60s and 70s, they were producing 2, 3, sometimes 4 if it's a compilation albums in a year. So I'm going to go with 2 albums by Merle Haggard and the Strangers. These are from 1967, I believe. So that's Branded Man and Lonesome Fugitive. Both classic albums. You can't go wrong with 1960s Merle. If I could only listen to one music from if I could only listen to music from one decade only, that would be the 1970s. It'd have to be. I would say a good 70-80% of the records behind me are 1970s, because, you know, it was the age of country rock, and that's kind of my thing. So yeah, 1970s. Goes without saying. I mean, the 60s were very important, but it kind of allowed the 70s to happen. And then by the end of the 70s, you got sort of synthesizers and things coming in, and they spoiled the party. Okay, not that there's anything wrong necessarily with a synthesizer. I like a synthesizer here and there, but I don't really want to hear it on a Willie Nelson record. Okay, so show a record from a band or a singer from Manchester. I'm going to show an album by Jimmy Miller. Do you know Jimmy Miller from Salford? Otherwise known as Ewan McCall. This is an album he recorded with his future wife and fancy piece. I don't mean that. I mean, I just mean that he was having an affair with her, Peggy Seeger. And that cracking, crazy cover. Brilliant. This is The Wanton Muse. Great folk stuff. So yeah, probably most famous for Dirty Old Town and First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. He wrote those. But yeah, Ewan McCall from Salford in Manchester, Greater Manchester. Okay, which band or singer did you listen to most in 2023? Now this is where I'm going to bend the rules slightly, and for those of you of a sensitive disposition, this is where it might get a bit pretentious. And what I have listened to most, or who I have listened to most, is Thomas Tallis. Yeah, I told you it'd be pretentious. I'm sorry. Thomas Tallis was an English composer working in sort of Tudor times. That is a picture by Hans Holbein of Edward the Sixth, the young king, and he was writing during that period, and then through Mary and the Restoration, Elizabeth. Tricky times, especially if you're kind of doing religious music, which Thomas Tallis did. The reason why I'm saying Thomas Tallis is I do a lot of work. I do working from home, and I can't have music with lyrics, so I like something that's sort of either I can't understand the lyrics because they're in Latin, or they don't, or they're instrumentals. And I also picked up a 10-disc box set of the best of the complete works of Thomas Tallis. And I listen to that while I'm working away, and it's taking me to trippy spiritual places, and that's Thomas Tallis. So there you go. Pretentiousness over. Let's go on. 7 inches. Now I did think about showing the 7 inches that I have been showing in my collaboration videos with John when we do our the VC pub jukebox, but I thought, well, you've seen those. You shouldn't show them. So I'm going to just go some random ones. So Madness, Our House. Loved that. They were nearby to me when I was growing up in London. Prince, Bat Dance. This is what got me into Prince. I was more into Batman, to be fair. And then Prince came along and did the soundtrack, and I fell in love with it. The Radio Sweethearts. This is, what's the song called? There's a number of songs. Heading Down the Highway. They are a Scottish, or they were, probably not still going, they were a Scottish alt country group. Really good stuff. Well, this is my dad's collection. This is Duke Ellington, and this is from Newport. And the interesting thing about this is it's got written on the back HMS Trowbridge. Now, my dad was in the Navy during the war. Now, he wasn't on board that. That was a destroyer or some sort of thing. Not to be confused with HMS Troutbridge, which I believe was the ship in the BBC radio comedy series The Navy Lark, which is more likely that my dad would have been on board that ship. Anyway, so I don't know if it was swapped with someone or something like that, because he certainly wasn't serving on that ship. Hill Street Blues, Mike Post. At one point, I wanted to get all the sort of Mike Post singles of the tunes he did. But Hill Street Blues is great. I like things like Magnum PI. Great stuff. And one day maybe I will try and pick those up. People have been showing some football records. I know there's been a question whether we're Man U or Man City. I mean, everyone hates Man U, so it's got to be Man City. Just to sort of do the football thing, this is the Tottenham Hotspur 1980-1981 season. Ozzy's dream. Spurs are on their way to Wembley. A team called Tottenham. Yes, great stuff. And finally, a novelty single. Not that the last one wasn't a novelty single. It was a novelty single. This is Count Arthur Strong and Nita Harris singing Something Stupid, but it's brilliant. Got a brilliant version of Lovely Day on it. What's his name? Lovely Day, lovely. I thought I'd show this here so I don't feel that I need to put a needle drop in. Okay, so those are my 7 inches. Who's coming to party? Who's coming to my dinner party? Okay, this is good. I've been thinking about this. So, first of all, and I think someone else has certainly seen someone shove him in, Tom Waits. Got to have Tom Waits. Depending on what sort of mood he's in. I imagine if you catch him on a bad day, he will be dreadful. But if he's in a good mood, he'll be a really good raconteur. Then, Willie Nelson. I bet he's got a few stories to tell. And, he's going to bring the weed, isn't he? So have Willie Nelson as well. And then, Dolly Parton. I mean, on the good side, she probably knows Willie Nelson, so they can chat amongst themselves, while I'm chatting with Tom. but she's great, and again, incredible person. I've got so much respect for Dolly Parton. And then finally, can I have J.S. Bach, please? Can he come with a translator as well? Because my German and sort of 18th century German is well, I don't have any. So, but a fascinating guy, and I'd love to hear the conversation between Tom Waits and J.S. Bach. I think that would be cracking. Right, okay. So that's my dinner party. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Right, sorry, I was getting right in your face then, wasn't I? So we lost them in 2023. You might not have heard of him, Vernon Oxford. He died. This is a record of his from 1975. Vernon Oxford was interesting because he was a kind of a neo-traditionalist before the neo-traditionalist movement. So he was, when in the 70s, 60s and 70s, country was going in a sort of a pop direction, he was dragging it back, bringing it back to sort of Hank Williams and Roy Acuff, things like that. But yeah, a real honky-tonker. Sadly lost him this year, Vernon Oxford. Okay, imagine if you could only listen to music from one country. Well, it's got to be America. I mean, I'm a huge folk fan, so I will miss a lot of the English folk, well, British folk. But, you know, let's remember a lot of that went across to the States to sort of create the Appalachian folk songs and things like that. I couldn't live without bluegrass and country, so yeah, it's got to be America. Name 3 vinyl community channels I discovered in 2023. Okay, Andy Ford, Brit. He does great videos. He did a wonderful round the world in 80 records. Well, I don't think there are 80 records, but it was a great idea. He was trying to get round the world with bands from different countries. Really great idea. He also did a great 12 Days of Christmas leading up to this Christmas. So Andy Ford, really worth checking out. Top bloke. Another Brit is Mike Vinyl Spiral. I had to throw him in because he's from Yorkshire, and you know he's just down the road from me. So Mike, if you're watching, if you fancy you know, a couple of ales down pub in Leeds or something, give us a bell. Let's do it. So yeah, Mike's great. And an American for the third one, and that is Dad's on a Budget Vinyl. And the S from Dad's is a $. And that's Mark from Alabama, North Alabama, he says. I don't know enough about Alabama to say what North Alabama is different to South Alabama, but hey, he's from North Alabama and he does great videos. He's really into sort of Americana, which is why I like them. He did his favorite bands, Los Lobos. He did a great video on them. He did a video on Andrew Bird and a video on John Hartford, which I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. I look like a bro. Hey, bro. I was going to try this without being a dick. Hasn't happened. Right, okay. So yeah, Mark at Dad's on a Vinyl Budget. No, Dad's on a Budget Vinyl. That's correct. Right, okay, there we go. Show a record you bought when I was a teenager. Billy Bragg, Don't Try This at Home. Yeah, loved Billy Bragg when I was a kid. I was 18 when that came out. Does that count as a teenager? I think it does. I mean, I suppose, let's get on with it, Headley. A funk record. Oh. Well, you can't get more funky than Super Funk by Funk Incorporated. That's got a lot of funk. This was originally released, I don't know what date, it's from 73. It was released on Prestige, I think, and it's produced by David Axelrod. Nice sort of jazz soul, really, I suppose. It's not sort of full on jazz soul funk. That's what it is. Good stuff. Okay. Show a record you think everyone has and show a record that nobody has. Well, I mean, that's nonsense because not everyone will have this. But the Eagles' greatest hits, considering that either, depending on which list you look at, this or Michael Jackson's Thriller is the album that sold the most. I mean, demonstrably, everyone has that, clearly. And an album that very few people will have is Frisco. This is a UK country band. This is from 1974. Groovy cover. And signed on the back, of course, by all the band, as is the prerequisite for 70s and 80s country from the UK. Yeah, if you find a UK country album from that period that isn't signed, you've got a unique item. What was I going to say about this? I can't remember what I was going to say about it. It's on my favourite label called Westwood Recordings that they do. I don't know why they call themselves Frisco. I mean, I've never really thought of that as being particularly country. I mean, it calls itself Grand Ole Opry, Nashville, Tennessee on there, but then calls themselves Frisco. Weird. Okay. She's Great, a record by a female artist. I bought loads of records by female artists. I tend to buy more, actually, especially that I like female voices. So let's have this one. This is Paula Fraser and Tarnation with Now It's Time. This didn't come out this year. This was from a number of years ago, 2007, but I picked this up, I think, on Amazon, really cheap. She's great. I've got Tarnation's first album, I think, which was released on 4AD. They're a kind of if you imagine a sort of a Cocteau Twins, but with a kind of a country twang to them, which is probably why I might say that because of Paula Fraser and Elizabeth Fraser. I thought they were so embarrassing. I thought they might have been sisters, and then I realised that they're spelt differently, apart from the fact that one's American and one isn't. So anyway, yeah, really good album, lovely voices, Paula Fraser. Favourite video you posted on your channel in 2023, and the favourite video you watched. I've only done 2 videos in 2023. That's terrible. But luckily, I've been doing, as I mentioned earlier, videos with my mate John, 6-inch pianist, doing the VC pub jukebox, which has been great fun. We've had some wonderful guests on and good chats. But having Ben Costello on this year again was great. It's always good to have a chinwag with my mate from the County Limerick. So it was good crack to have Ben Costello on. So that was my favourite video. My favourite video I watched has got to be, and other people have mentioned this, and this is Stevie's Vinyl Cupboard. The video he did where he went to try and find where the Yes album cover was shot, the location. Great, funny guy, funny videos, always funny. Check him out. Stevie's Vinyl Cupboard. Okay, show me a record that you describe as a 90s classic. There you go. The Farm, Spartacus. And I've chosen this because this is 91, I think it was released. But it's so 90s that it's so dated now. It's good fun. It's got a couple of hits on it, Groovy Train and All Together Now. But it's very much of its time. A lot of the 90s music that people talk about now sort of has transcended the 90s, whereas this seems very much stuck in the 1990s. If you could walk into a cover, if you could walk into one cover and sort of be there, it would be this one. This is Ray Conniff and his orchestra, Smarvelous. And I just love that album cover. I want to be one of these blokes with this lovely lady with my giant pencil, because that's what I'm sure they are. They are giant pencils, but I can't quite work out whether they're drawing on the floor with them or on the ceiling with them. But I mean, and this guy here, he's the fun. Doesn't he just bring the fun? So yeah, I'd like to be with them, with that lovely lady with my giant pencil. There you go. It's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with, it feels like a greatest hits. There you are. I do show the Beatles. Hard Day's Night. Everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. Is that a fact? That's a fact. So yeah, this is my mum's copy. You can tell it's got her name Nikki on it, and her 18A, which was her sort of student accommodation. Anyway, yeah, because of the film as well. So all the songs are so familiar. brilliant. It's probably one of my favourite. This one or Help might be my favourite Beatles album. Okay, and then finally, show me an album. So I'm showing Rob Walker this album, just him. So if you could all not look, this is just for Rob. Sorry. So show an album that was released in 1974, and this is Brown's Homebrew. So that's Joe Brown. I always think he was in some band, but I don't think he ever was. He probably could have been, but yeah. This is kind of British country rock from that period that people were starting to emulate the sort of the funky stuff that the band were doing, and the Byrds and the Eagles, I suppose, to some extent. But there's not much Eagles in this, to be fair. The first album by them is a sought after rarity. This one is not, and I think it's partly due to that cover. Do you know what? Actually, I could be in this cover. That's quite handy. I mean, they're clearly on the beach somewhere at, I don't know, Tacky Clacky, or I would say Brighton, but Brighton doesn't have sand. It's got stones. Anyway, there they are on the back. So his wife was in this, Vicky Brown, they're the parents of Sam Brown, the singer as well. But yeah, so really nice. If you like a bit of sort of country rock with a bit of groove to it, check that out. There we go. I've gone over 20 minutes. I tried to do it short. Anyway, okay, thank you, Rob, for doing that. Here we go. And I will try and do some more videos this year. But, maybe not. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for watching if you've watched this far. Bye-bye.